I have no idea what happened. Oh, no promises. I absolutely will die. And I have died multiple times. It's really fun. Cool. Everything is viewable. We will start in like a minute because of all the weird technical difficulties and the fact that it is not 8 o'clock yet. No, genuinely, like I've never seen that happen. 'Cause, like, why was Oof the only one who was able to hear God? The chosen system out there, the chosen system. Oh my wait. Dude, we're like psychic communication right now. Like this is not Discord. I am like specifically psychically communicating to you inside of your brain. Okay. So what I was going to do is another thing that I think might have done it was specifically because I had opened panel chat on my phone. And I don't know how that would affect anything, but I'm just not going to do that. And we're going to fuck it, we ball, you know? Oh, wait, no, yeah. Guards were removing this so specifically. Yeah, that's what the Discord servers that banned me for being Cookie Chioma did. Okay, anyway, it is 8:01. We can start now. Welcome to I Survived the Killing Game and All I Got Was This Stupid T-shirt, a panel where we're going to talk about Danganronpa and what it's like to be fictional for like an hour. Firstly, important check. Fiction folk in the audience, are you out there? Are you fictioning? Can I get a horse emoji in chat if you love me or if you hate me or if you feel no strong emotions on me? Either way. Thank you for horsing around. Love it, love it. All right, okay. So, hello. We are the Milky Way Collective, but we tend to just shorten it to Milkcolle nowadays. We are a system with DID that has a really, really intense relationship with being fictional. While our entire system isn't fictional, I'd say there's definitely a high amount of us who are. We actually do have a single orthohuman in our system, and I fear them every day. We are in our 20s, and if you're talking about us collectively, we use the name Seven or Agape. Our collective pronouns are he, they, with the they being plural, but not all of us use those pronouns, so just check in. Above all, we love talking about our own experiences and helping others with theirs. Fiction as an identity is something that's really important to us, and we want to make the fiction folk community a place where people can be themselves, no fear of fandom or fringe culture or fake claiming or whatever. As for personal things, we really like idols and psychological horror. Our favorite type of horror is where it feels like the world is crumbling around you and you don't know the difference between fiction and reality. Okay, cool, moving on. Important things to know before this panel technically actually starts. Disclaimers, warnings, why we are legally, emotional, etc., qualified to talk about Danganronpa like this, that kind of thing. So we use fictive and kin interchangeably as a personal choice. So if we're switching back and forth sometimes, assume we're talking about the exact same thing, really. Uh, we've been a fan of Kodaka's since the Something Awful forum, where the first Danganronpa game was fan translated through text. It was over 10 years ago now, which makes me feel very old, but it's okay. It's okay. The people who discovered it on TikTok in 2020, they're fine. They're fine. Trigger warnings. This panel will contain themes of murder, death, apocalyptic scenarios, dehumanization, and unreality, and pretty much anything horror related under the sun. Um, this panel also will have spoilers for every game in the Danganronpa series. Um, some of the blood will be in there, but it's like neon pink and it's very subtle, and I'm not really going to be showing anything. Uh, it's not much. Um, we also are completely willing to talk about our deaths and things like that. So it will be more verbal if asked about it. But again, like if you're weird about like, oh no, this person died and there was Pepto-Bismol blood somewhere. Yeah, this might be a weird panel to be in. Um, this panel is currently going to be held by Kokichi Oma, who promises to tell the whole truth and nothing but the truth. However, there are going to be, well, there are currently a bunch of other people in my head who are completely willing to talk about shit. Um, if you have not played Danganronpa, then if you don't mind spoilers, don't worry. I will be explaining literally everything ever in the world. And yeah, we were going to do a general Kodaka panel before, but then we realized, oh God, 100 line has 100 endings. And we did not want to deal with that hell and putting all of that into one panel with every single other Kodaka game. So we're just doing Danganronpa now. One day we'll do a 100 line panel. All right, who's presenting? Currently speaking directly into your ears, it is King Kokichi Oma. I have a lot of thoughts on Danganronpa V3, especially post-game. Hello, Sora. I also like Katamari Damacy, which isn't technically relevant to this panel, but if you know, you know. Anyway, the other Danganronpa host in our system is Narancia. He is Shihiro Fujisaki. If you've ever wondered what Chihiro does besides program, it is cry tears of joy over cheap burritos and hang out at Hot Topic. And our other guys, they might show up, they might not. They are actually here right now. If you want, you can always ask about them, and if not, I will give my bestest attempt to answer accurately. I cross my heart. Finis would kill me if I did not. Firstly, we have Charlie. She is Kodako from another episode and really likes watching cute core room tour TikToks. Finis is Shuichi Saihara. He's really into like vintage aesthetics and also fish as a whole. Nico, that's Junko Enoshima, evil legend. I have no way to describe him in an all ages panel, besides he's mean in a funny way, and you should remember that he exists. Then, of course, we have Luna, our non binary woman of all time. She's Celestia Ludenberg, and while she does still enjoy tea, she normally drinks it while reading copious amounts of Yuri manga. And then we have Winter, aka Fuyuhiko Kuzuryu. Ignore his bio, he's generally pretty chill, despite being our designated angry man. Okay, cool. Long ass intro is over. Does anyone know what a Danganronpa is? Has anyone played a Danganronpa? If so, you are currently at the I re-explain what Danganronpa is for half an hour, and only then can you ask me questions panel. You know, I got to get people up to speed, so I'm trying to like summarize things as quick as possible while still getting all the important parts in. So like, if I skip something that's relatively minor in like our point of view, that's probably why. Anyway, fun pictures of my living room and also my Steam library. Anyway, Danganronpa is a PSP game from 2010. It was pretty niche in the West for a while until one of the Homestuck giant like hiatuses happened. People were trying to figure out like what should they do while they waited for Homestuck to come back. So the fandom had a bit of a split in it. Did you want to go play this cool indie game off, or did you want to sneak into a forum that regularly put up temporary paywalls to keep lurkers out to read an obscure fan translated visual novel that had to censor the fuck word as gently caress due to website rules? For some reason, a lot of people, including myself, chose the forum. And because of the popularity, Spike Chunsoft decided, hey, so maybe we should localize that actually. And then the first Danganronpa game was released officially in English in 2014. Do I have my issues with the translation for the series? Yes. But this is not a panel on that. Danganronpa has 5 games, an anime adaptation that's really bad, and you should probably just play the game instead. Novels, manga, a dead mobile game. So much. A lot of Danganronpa is out there. I hate it. They they announced an alternate universe remake after I finished my panel. Can you believe this? They're making things so hard for me. Okay, so instead of me summarizing the entire plot, because that will get very convoluted really fast, I'm going to explain some key aspects of the series. First of all, what is Hope's Peak Academy? So Kibogamini Gakuen is a school for students gifted in a certain field. For example, Nara slash Shihiro is considered our super high school level programmer due to his skills at programming. However, some of the fields aren't necessarily ones that normal schools would consider when recruiting students. So, like, for example, Winter slash Kuzuryu is the super high school level Yakuza. So he is in charge of the mob. The school also offers a reserve course for students without any special talents, and it also allows a single student each year to be admitted into the talent program by lottery, which is super high school level good luck. If you know good old Nagito Komaeda, that would be him. Um, while the series mainly focuses on the high school, there are also other divisions that come up, like the elementary school division. What is the worst, most despair inducing incident in the history of mankind? Big name, a lot going on there, as you can tell from our images here. Um, the incident was a period of society collapsing into uncontrollable chaos and violence, led by Junko Enoshima, who's currently hanging out in my head, and those she recruited under her organization, Super High School Level Despair. There was a lot of brainwashing of peak students involved, leading to a lot of death, a lot of protesting, and eventually full despair based anarchy around the world. Because of this, Hope's Peak decided to shelter the remaining students inside the building. Unfortunately, one of those students was Junko, who had been secretly running things the whole time. After the school lockdown, she uh, killed the headmaster very quickly, like that, and wiped the memories of the students remaining of their entire high school lives up to that point. She forces them into a killing game where they believe they had just started their new life at a new school. Special brain and fan note, they're adults at this point. They just, were brainwashed and they did not know. So I just need to clarify going in. Every single character in this and every single person in my head besides the children are adults. Uh, the elementary school division are the only children. All right, killing games. They are the main aspect of Danganronpa. This is the Pepto Bismol. If you aren't familiar with the term and how it works, a killing game is where a group of people who are trapped in a certain location uh, figure out the only way out of that location and to, have contact with the outside world is to kill each other. It's not enough for one student to simply murder another, though. They have to actually get away with it. Students are given time to investigate the crime scene before working together during something called a test trial to find the culprit. If they find them, the culprit is executed really elaborately. If not, everyone else dies and the culprit is free. To encourage the killing, students are provided with motives to make them desperate to kill, like money. One of the motives was just getting a lot of money. Onto the plot of the first game. The high school life of mutual killing tells the story of 15 students trapped in a school being told to kill each other by an evil robot bear known as Monokuma. I mentioned motives earlier, and the motives most relevant to our system are revealing our deepest secrets to everyone, which was in Nara's case, him being a guy, uh, and also $10 million. Luna sure did like money. Of our group, Chihiro slash Nara was a victim of murder. Celeste slash Luna was a murderer. And this guy. Uh, so at the end of the killing game, Junko herself is executed for her crimes, ending her reign of despair, and freeing the remaining students, now aware that they are in fact adults and that the world around them is basically an apocalypse. The six survivors join the Future Foundation, which is a group formed by Hope's Peak alumni to defeat super high school level despair and return the world to a better state. And after learning about Junko's death, her followers either committed suicide or became the Remnants of Despair, a group keeping her vision alive. I wonder if the remnants will come up. I wonder. Anyway, so that was the first game. So the second game takes place inside the Neo World program. This program was a VR simulation that made the participants believe that they were trapped on an island, with the only way off being, again, to kill each other. However, it wasn't always meant for that purpose. The remnants of despair were actually placed there in order to reform them. And the simulation was kind of meant to focus on friendship and healing their trauma through them forgetting all about their time at Hope's Peak. That is Usami. She is great, and everyone should love her. Yeah, who is that Future Foundation weirdo? Seems kind of like egg-like. Uh, so unfortunately, there was a Junko-shaped virus in the simulation, and the killing game began. Of our system, Kuzuryu/Winter was the survivor of the game, and technically, so did everybody else that he knew because it was just a simulation. Like everyone's fine. Um, that because it's a simulation, though, they are making the alternate version soon, and again, like it's really screwing with us, and we do not know how to like it's a lot. It's a lot. So I mentioned that there are five Danganronpa games: DR1, SDR2, V3. Then there's a weird summer camp spinoff with a gotcha mechanic. And then there's Absolute Despair Girls Danganronpa, another episode. This game is a bit different than the rest. Before the first game, Junko kidnapped the single most important person to every single person trapped in the school. She put them in like prisons, which were basically just like an apartment building, and they were meant to be used as motives at some point. The Future Foundation attempted to free those people, but only the protagonist, our beloved Komaru on the left, she is saved. She is forced to go to a war against the Warriors of Hope, a group of children known as super elementary school levels. These kids have brainwashed other children into rioting and killing. Their goal was to rid the city of all adults, hoping to make it a kid's paradise. Technically, this is a killing game, but it's more so like the warriors are trying to kill the captive in like a weird game of tag. And if they left the city, they'd explode, and that does happen to someone, and it's really screwed up. Um, the rest of the warriors don't know this, but the true goal of the leader was to drive the protagonist to despair, turning her into Junko Enoshima because Junko Enoshima cannot die. They will never get rid of her. Uh, One of the warriors was Charlie/Kotoko, and another was a little in our system who will not be here because, again, it is a little. Also, the game is a shooter for some reason, and that's probably why a lot of people are like, no, you don't need to play it. It's not real, but it's like part of the story. um, so, yeah, that was all really depressing, really messed up. Nara and the others really struggled with it all. Some didn't make it, some did. But at the end of the day, it was really traumatizing. It was an awful experience. Let's all just take some breaths, digest it all, process what we just heard here. Okay, so like, what if none of that was real? Welcome to New Danganronpa V3, everyone's new semester of killing. You didn't think I'd forget about my own source, right? Now, I'm just going to share a couple quotes from the official synopsis of NDRV3 with you. Welcome to a new world of Danganronpa. Prepare yourself for the most exhilarating episode yet. Okay, so they're saying that this isn't part of the canon universe. I mean, I get it, fine. Kind of weird wording on the second part, though. Like, episode. Well, I mean, like, another episode exists, so. Forget what you thought you knew about Danganronpa and join a completely new cast of Ultimates for a brand new beginning. Oh, maybe they're, introducing new mechanics, but they do that every game. So, I mean, I guess it might start like a new series. So, since everything in the original games was taken care of, the world is shaped by our perception of it. Okay, so like, what does that mean? What does that mean? So, what happens in New Danganronpa V3? The cast of the game is kidnapped and taken into the Ultimate Academy for Gifted Juveniles. The students were all apparently hunted down and kidnapped for having super high school level talents. They're told that the only way out of the school is to kill each other. Normal, normal. Our own members from V3 are Shuichi Saihara, aka Finis, the protagonist, and Me, Kokichi Oma slash King, and I was a murder victim. All of the students remember things about the world through flashback lights. The flashback lights tell them that actually their memories are wrong, and they're actually students from Hope's Peak Academy. There was actually an apocalypse on Earth, so they sent the students into space to preserve humanity. Uh, Oma slash King slash me claims to be the mastermind of the killing game, and actually, you've been returned to the straight Earth, but I was not the mastermind. It was a lie because I'm a liar, and I actually was, planning on destroying the game from the inside out. But eventually, the students realized that, hey, there are some contradictions here between what they're being told is real and what they personally remember, and that the story that they're being told keeps changing. Then they discover the real mastermind, and that person reveals that everything the students know is fake. Their memories, talents, relationships, personality, history, identities, they are all entirely fake. Their original selves have been permanently rewritten with a fictional identity. They're not real people, they're fictional characters. Danganronpa is actually a very popular fictional franchise. It started with the game series that we mentioned previously, but then it continued on to the anime, manga, novels, and now a live action series. This was known as the ultimate real fiction project. The mastermind was deliberately trying to turn the group into fictional characters. King Danganronpa helped her to make this goal a reality for many, many seasons. In the end, the survivors attempt to end the series once and for all, trying to convey to viewers the cruelty that they've faced and how inhumane the things that have been done to them at their very core is, that they're people. Still, they don't fully know reality from fiction. They don't know what parts of the reality is true, what parts are a lie, and even if the truth that they're being told about the show is really even true. We're characters from season 53 of Danganronpa. But like the hints are there. Danganronpa as a series is just really extra and self-referential. So like most people would assume, oh, this means nothing. Also, I need to note that no other game in the series has the all characters shown are fictional disclaimer before the game starts. That was a very deliberate choice to include here, and it drives me insane. um, but yeah, what happened after the game? Sorry, no pictures here. They don't show it in the official canon, but I can talk about it a lot. After dying in the simulation, the participants would be woken up. They have no memory of themselves before the game, just in the game. They don't know what's happening, but effectively, they are fictional characters walking in reality. They're treated like fictional characters. They have a fandom. They're paraded around by Team Danganronpa, forcing them to continue being characters. It's not really a celebrity thing, it's specifically fiction and reality. And because they're fiction, they have nothing to go back to. No past, no idea what the future could possibly hold. They're placed in a Team Danganronpa run hospital for a while after awakening, till everyone can recover through therapy. Recover is in scare quotes because they kind of just wanted us to be stable enough to not freak out on live TV interviews. Despite living together, having experienced the same hell together, things are really strained between everyone. And I mean, why wouldn't they be? People killed each other, and that's not really easy to just forgive. Meanwhile, Team Danganronpa is acting like, hey, we did a good thing. We did nothing wrong. I mean, everyone's an adult. They made their own choices. They made their own decisions. They chose to sign on to this. They knew what was happening. Danganronpa gave them the opinion. Danganronpa gave them the opportunity to do this. And these characters, they should be grateful. And now here we are talking to you. So here's our handy little summary of what you just heard. We are in our current world here. NDRV3 is fiction to the current world. Season 53 is fiction to the current world and fiction to NDRV3, but it's also real in NDRV3. And then the other Danganronpa games are purely fiction. Does that make sense? People hated V3, by the way. Anyway, questions. You will literally answer anything. It doesn't even have to be about Danganronpa. If you have any questions related to being fiction folk, we've got you. But I did spend a billion years talking about Danganronpa, and like all of our Danganronpa fiction folk are fronting right now, or like Kokon. So I think it would be cool to talk about Danganronpa. Thank you. Um, okay, I am kind of all over the place, and there are multiple different places I could possibly check, and I do not want to deal with the hell that is opening it on my phone in case it fucks up the audio again. So, if possible, I would prefer panel questions in the panel questions thing, but I will try to peek over from time to time into the actual discussion chat. Yeah, V3 it's very confusing. It's it's very confusing. Assume if you know things, no you don't, because it keeps everything so purposely vague that honestly I think only fiction folk can really explain what happened. Yes. Sorry, the plot of what? You know what? Sure. I trust you. One of these days I'm gonna play Fallout. I think I have like Fallout 3 in my Steam library from like a bundle. So at one point I will be playing. Okay, dying multiple times. So I would say it's really complicated in the fact that I did die in the game, and like so if you bring all of us together into this, we have died many, many a time in Danganronpa. But then if you specifically take me into account, I did die in Danganronpa, which was a very gory mess. Probably I have said to multiple people, my death is probably like up there as one of the like most terrifying deaths in the series. Um, and then I came back and I was in a hospital, and oh boy, I was alive and I had to live through an entire life and die again. It was a time, but that's just how things are. That's how things are. Same happened with the Winter slash Kuzuryu because of his also being in a simulation. Uh, Saihara slash Venus didn't have to deal with that because he did survive until the end, and I hate him every day for that. He was not in my canon, by the way. I had the games do a really weird switcheroo. So they started off being like, oh yeah, a woman is going to be the protagonist, and everyone was very excited about that. And then no, she dies. Here's Saihara. But I had the woman. I had the woman. It is okay. So having so many source mates in our system is kind of complicated. So for the most part, I don't really know them. um, I would say the only one I really have in common because of the different universes is Finis. Um, we do have a very complicated relationship in that the fandom likes to ship us really bad, and we like first of all, again, I don't know him. uh, he died in my equivalent of chapter one, and he had literally no interest in me in his own canon. So it's weirdly complicated in that we're slowly trying to figure out how do we interact with each other when the fandom is so weird about us. But it's getting all right. It's getting all right. There's like a level of respect there. But admittedly, I find most of my source mate happiness outside of the system, and also through like people who are from other games. So in the sense of like, oh, Nara is Shihiro, so I feel a little bit more comfortable with him just because we've been through the same shit. And then there's also 100 Lion, which is by the same creator, and I am co-host with again Nara and someone named Tamari, who is Ima from 100 Lion. So we all kind of vibe together. Why do I like horses? First of all, it is in my name, and I think that is perfect. My name has the Uma kanji. So does Emos, by the way. Um, I love horses so much. It's hard to really explain. I think it started when I split, and I was like, oh, uh, I don't have much to me. Well, what can I really go with? And horses were kind of the first thing that I was like, oh, I mean, I get it. I guess I can go there outside of Danganronpa. And then I became a horse enjoyer. And now I have been called multiple times the system horse girl, but in like a non binary mask way. Does the meta stuff in V3 impact with how I interact with fiction folk community? So it again, it's like kind of complicated because it does depend on the different types of like people that you'll find in the community. Uh, Overall, our system is very fandom oriented, um, but in the sense that like we enjoy fandom, but we don't really enjoy talking with very fandom brained fiction folk because like again, the amount of times I have seen a Saihara who will come up to me and expect me to be like, "Oh my god, you're so smexy!" Like, dude, shut up, shut up. I don't know you. um, there's definitely a lot to say about being treated like a character and being treated like a person. So it really does depend on how people view their fictionhood and if they are willing to treat me like a person and think about how I am outside of official canon. Because for me, most of my emotions about canon are post canon. Most of my memory about canon is post canon. So that's not really things that a lot of people, unless they're from my specific canon, like they don't know it. I was also murdered and mostly made peace with the dead. Being the dead part, but being murdered is a lot. What was that like for you? Okay, uh, so I my murder. And here I will put a big trigger warning here for. Oh God, this is gonna get dark. Um, it was technically an assisted suicide in that me and this guy that I hate and I want him dead and I hate him and I would not live with this guy in the future and feel romantic feelings towards him whatsoever again. Um, he and I worked together to try to end the killing game from inside by creating an impossible murder. So we kind of exchanged places. I wore his jacket. We kind of faked his death. He then got into a robot and pretended to be me. So our thought was, oh, there are very strict rules here. And I mean, if they break those rules and they punish someone who, doesn't deserve to be punished, because how can you punish me if I'm dead? Uh, then the game would break. But, did not happen. The murder was solved. And admittedly, I do have complicated feelings about how I put in so much work over the course of the entire killing game, and then it kind of was for nothing. It was for nothing, and then I got out of the killing game, and most people hated my guts. So it was fun. Um, I literally only had the guy who, in quotes, killed me, and he was literally all I had with me for the entire rest of my normal person life. Um, as for the death part, it was like I'll be real, it was terrifying. It was very terrifying. Um, I still will have moments where I cannot. To preface, my death was being crushed by a hydraulic press. I was a puddle. I was literally just goop. Um, so laying down flat sometimes, I will literally start like freaking out because it'll like kind of flashback ish, and it's a lot. But no, don't tell anyone I told you that. Don't tell anyone I told you that because I am very normal and functioning, and nothing is wrong, and I am normal. Uh, how do I feel about the fandom? Ooh, complicated, complicated. Um, I I mentioned in my little spiel that a lot of them they don't like V3, and it pisses me off so bad because, like, okay, play this game and it's specifically saying, hey, you know, we're people. And I think it's really fucked up that, like, people look at it and they go, I can't believe they're trying to say I'm a bad person for enjoying Danganronpa. And it's like, that's not the point. And like, the whole point is like the relationship between fiction and reality and how it impacts reality and how there is that kind of blur. Um, but people don't seem to grasp that. And it's just a really complicated thing where people will look at me or Danganronpa Fictionfolk or people who even just like V3 and go, why do you like the worst game in the series? The one that ruined Danganronpa and like retconned everything. And it's like, it didn't. Like, again, like Nara and everyone else are they're still here. Like their canon still happened. It's just like under layers of fiction hood and shit. So yeah, it's definitely complicated, and there are fans that I do enjoy as long as they're normal and do not treat me like I am a blorbo. I have written many an essay on God, I hate being a blorbo. But I'm usually fine as long as people are like respectful. Yeah, exactly. They make so many jokes. Like I okay, hi, Nara. Um I well, I am going to be the first person to make jokes about my own death. I have memed it since I first played, or not played, read the first game. But like, I feel like there's definitely a difference between me making jokes about being bashed in the head by a hot man and other people making like weird gender jokes, or I don't know. It's like there's a time and place and there's a way of doing it that like is significantly more respectful. But also it's like, man, I have a whole bunch of a whole bunch of stuff, a whole bunch of stuff that you can talk about, but people like to make gender jokes and it's annoying. uh, I'm trying to see if anyone else has anything to say about fandom shit. Oh, okay. Charlie wants to note that she does not like that people make jokes about her canon because there is a very I won't say what the specific topic is aside from she is an elementary schooler and people are weird and make weird jokes and they should not. No, you can ignore retcons like, and it's not even technically a retcon. Like I exist, I'm real, I am here. All of the original Danganronpa existed. It like, here's my thing, it's fictional, it was fictional in the first place to the viewers here. So like, why is it being fictional in a fictional universe suddenly so much different? Like, I don't get it. It changed nothing for me. Like, oh, okay, I'm already fictional here. If I'm fictional somewhere else, that's fine. I don't care. Like, oh no, oh no. Uh, how do you deal with being such a hated character? Okay. Again, I mentioned that I have. So when I first split, I have always been a really social person, and my first move was, I want to meet people, but I was in a situation where, like, not to air out weird, dirty laundry shit, but we knew someone at the time who had never played a Danganronpa game, knew nothing about Danganronpa, but I was on his blacklist because he saw one weird joke telling me something that is stupid and not true, and was like, oh, we're putting this guy on the blacklist. So I could not talk on Twitter, on their timeline, or be public about existing at all. So I was like, okay, let me join some kin servers. Okay, oh, I see. I'm blacklisted from this one. Don't join this server, can't join that server. Oh, there's, oh, I can join this server. Never mind weird discourse rules. Okay, great, fun. One server, I was literally grouped with a person who did a very, very bad thing that is like very bad thing that most people agree is a terrible, awful, bleh, did terrible things to Charlie and everyone. Um, but I was grouped with him, and I was like, wow, am I that bad? Like, am I that bad? So I've kind of decided, like, it hurt me at first, but after a while, I kind of was like, man, who cares? If these people don't like me to that level, I probably never would have wanted to talk to them in the first place. And as long as people respect me as a person now, I do get a little annoyed when people are like, wow, this guy sucks in canon, or like, he's terrible, he's annoying. I like just tell myself, like, wow, you have no media literacy and you can't tell that I'm lying when I'm constantly calling myself a liar. So it's a complicated mess. It's a complicated mess. Um, yeah. But again, like I normally am able to talk to fans and I'm normally able to talk to people as long as they're respectful for me, even if they don't like my source character. And I again I do like being acknowledged as my source character because I am not super like source separated or whatever people say. I still pretty much consider myself myself. It's just like I've kind of learned like okay, people aren't gonna like me and that's whatever. I will make you like me and that's a threat. That and also when I left the killing game, a lot of people did not like me, so I'm kind of used to it, which sounds self-deprecating, but like I really don't care. Still feel pressure to be good at our talents. Um, hmm. I I am one of our system hosts, and I still would consider myself to be a leader. So even when I wasn't really a host, I still kind of took on this like leadership role and really like taking care of the others in my system. So I would kind of get all our work done and things like that, like make sure everything was set up for the next day. I was really like focused in on being a good leader, making sure that we're doing all right. Because like, hey, leadership isn't always about my my original cover story for my evil supreme leader group was that we were a silly group that liked to play pranks on people. No, there was also a level of I need to take care of everybody because I am in charge. I'm in charge. Let me see. Is there anyone else who? Oh, yes. Okay. So, Celestia speaking. I My main role in our system is kind of keeping a straight face, and I mainly would deal with our like when we used to work in customer service and things like that. We do work a very person-facing job now as well. And my main focus is just the normal stereotypical. I was a gambler, so having that straight poker face, being able to keep up an appearance and seem normal, and like nothing is bothering me, nothing is wrong. That's kind of how I've continued it into our current day. Aside from that, I we have one person in our system who is definitely more of a gambler than I am, so I don't really go there anymore. But I do take the elements of my old talent and I kind of try to work it into how I am now. Okay, I think everybody aside from that is like not really. They're kind of like, yeah, our talent exists. Aside from Nico, who I am literally saying like he cannot talk right now because specifically because this is an all ages panel and he will say something. He will say something. Um, I'm trying to think of how to word what he's saying, what he said. He's here to slay. He's here to slay. um, what kind of super high school talents were sought after? Was it anyone with aptitude who could meet their standards, or were they more choosy? Admittedly, I have no idea how it worked. Let me see if So Nara again. Something with us was a lot of us were more in the public eye. So at least from our system, which is what I can really speak for, um, we had Yakuza, who he was, a big name. He's a big name in, well known in the crime scene world. Myself, I was a very well known, basically an influencer, though I didn't like to call myself that. Um, but I was very well known online and in spaces like that, had a big fan base. Nico, again, he was literally a model. um, he was probably one of the most famous people at our school at that point. Um, and then Celeste, Luna, she, well, I would say she's more underground gambling kind of area. She definitely had this level of like popularity online just from posting her Lolita chords and things like that. So all of us were generally pretty well known, and that was how we specifically were discovered. Though there are definitely people who are lesser so known. So, well, again, V3 technically none of their things happened, which feels very dismissive to say, but uh, something I've assumed there with like, oh, super high school level detective, or this is a supreme leader who, works on the streets and stuff. A lot of it was more kind of they've got eyes everywhere. Hope's Peak is generally a very well-known school that sets you up for life. So they have a lot of resources, a lot of different. They have eyes everywhere. It's kind of creepy, but they're a very well-known school and they have a lot of power. So that's probably, yeah. Um, what is the most out there talent someone had? Ooh, that's like I feel like I don't like saying this because I have a very weird relationship with him, but oh my God, what the heck is going Hifumi Yamada. Like I'm just saying, like this doesn't sound out there, but if you are going to like to bring anybody into the school, why is the first person that you come up with a Dojin artist who specifically draws things? And it's like, oh, I see. Why? Why are you here? There's also Hagafure, who was a fortune teller, but he only had a like 30% accuracy for his predictions. So I'm really like, why him? Why him? Um, then of course, Izuru from technically he's okay. So I mentioned, or well, King mentioned the reserve course in our presentation. What they did with Hinata, who's the protagonist of the second game, is they took him out of reserve course. They did brain surgery and gave him every single talent known to mankind. Unfortunately, that made him very depressed. Um, I knew him. I did know him. I don't know him like super well because my memories of Hope's Peak are kind of because of the brainwashing. But I did know him for a little bit as Hinata. So seeing Izuru is kind of a weird experience. Aside from that, oh yeah, Kirumi from again, this is like the fake projected onto a real person talent, but she is a super high school level maid, but she actually was the prime minister of Japan, which is like again, man, how are they coming up with this stuff? Do we all have different opinions on our source? Um, so Finis, before he we had a thing where he was originally just a Shuichi Saihara fictive, and then he fused with another guy. And back then, he really came to dislike Danganronpa as a whole, which a lot of people would assume, like, okay, yeah, you're Shuichi Saihara. Of course, you don't like Danganronpa. His main focus was he liked his friends. That's kind of it. Now, because he is in a brain relationship with Junko and Oshima, which is crazy to me. It's crazy. Definitely the relationship of all time. He's gotten a little bit more comfortable with the topic, but I wouldn't say he like actively seeks out anything Danganronpa related. Personally, I really myself and King, we both really do love Danganronpa. as a concept and as what it is, we do completely follow along with basically anything Kodaka does because we really trust in his writing, even if a lot of people don't. And for some reason, the things that he writes specifically really attack our brain. Like, again, we almost did a 100 line presentation. 100 line came out like a couple months ago. Like, I'm pretty sure like every single, yeah, all of our hosts are from 100 line now. Like, all of us confirmed from 100 line. And then we also split Ima, who became a host. Like, it's complicated. Kodaka's in our brain and he understands us in a way that nobody else does. So we do love Danganronpa despite all of the weirdness and the trauma and the hell. Though I will say Winter, he does not really engage with Danganronpa, so this was his very rare moment of engaging with it because, like, again, things happen, and also like people are weird about DR2 as well. So he's off doing his own thing in Charisma Houseland, which I'm also from. Do the opposite of what he predicts, 70% success rate. That's real. That's real. Hagakure, I do have a lot of feelings about in that he was considered a legitimate threat by Junko because they like specifically took his crystal ball that he used and hid it. So it's like, man, what was that crystal ball able to do in the first place? Like he's got talent. He's got talent. Uh, on a more lighthearted note, uh, any of us have something about our canon that's just really out there. Otherwise, shock the fandom for being completely out of nowhere if you're just looking at canon. Um, hmm, I'm trying to think. For me, like the first thing that came to my head for me was gender. Um, I don't know if people are aware of the absolute hell that was Chihiro Fujisaki gender discourse in the from release in Japanese and like fan translated to English to literally right now. um, but as Shihiro, a lot of people do think of my source character as trans femme, which when canonically in the game I am my guy, and I do respect headcanons. I'm trying to think of a good way to say it. I do respect headcanons. I respect that so much, but I was a trans man, and I still am. I do have like a certain level of difference between myself and canon in that like my gender was a very significant part of of the trial where I was killed. But like I feel like the idea of me being a trans man specifically is something that is so out there, and people are like, "What? Why would you think that?" Because the argument is always between cis and trans femme, and they don't even acknowledge like non-binary, which is weird to me. um, but like, it's a complicated thing, and again, I'm very glad that they're not remaking DR1 because I could not deal with that discourse coming back in the way that it used to be. I can deal with wherever it's at now, and that's kind of my limit. um, Aside from that, um, trying to think if anybody else has anything that's like crazy because I feel like a lot of us are very like not like canon like but you know what I mean. um okay, King again. So I would say one of our main things, or one of my main things, was that like I kind of did not care about anybody. um One of my main interests now, and maybe it's because again after the game I did live with the most obnoxious, awful, terrible person who was a, in quotes, an astronaut. Um, I hate him and I hope he dies forever. Um, I do love anything space themed. Our system name is literally the Milky Way Collective, and part of that does come from that guy who I loathe. Um, I mentioned in my introduction, and it was like a if you know, you know, but I guess I can explain it a little bit more. My favorite game of all time is Katamari Damacy. And that is because of, first of all, the vibes. You're a little cute little guy. Um, then I also it's a game about space. It's at the end of the day, it's a game about space, and it's cute and it's fun and it's definitely something he would have enjoyed. And if people ask me, "Oh, you know, like, did anybody in your canon influence you to, like, this point or even back in canon?" I would have been like, "No, I hate everyone." But like, no, no, he sure was a person who influenced me, and I hate him. I hate him. I hate him. But yeah, that's that. We do have, oh God, I, time has passed. Time is passing. Uh, we have like 5 minutes. So if anyone has any last things to say, I have not been checking panel stage, and I apologize for that. I have been kind of staring off into the distance, rambling because like staring at my laptop feels like the equivalent of eye contact, and I do not like eye contact for autism reasons. So I'm like, okay, well, if I stare off into space, then I can talk and I can yap and I can do whatever. There was one person who influenced me and I hate him. It's so relatable. Genuinely, I hope he dies like again at a billion more times. And like I hope wherever he is now, he is like actively falling downstairs constantly. I hope he dies, and I will also say like again, where is it? Going all the way back to the beginning. Yeah. You see this fucking guy? I hope he dies. I hope he dies. The purple astronaut man. Hate him, hate him, hate him. He's falling downstairs. He is stepping on Legos and doing many a thing that involves bodily torture and pain. But yeah, we do only have like 4 minutes left, so I am kind of like I have no idea how to end this. So I'm just gonna kind of vibe, and I appreciate you coming and staying for this absolute clusterfuck of a panel where I'm kind of just yapping and rambling and not really thinking, which is not normal for me because I am the kind of person who will uh, kind of craft and like take a solid 5 minutes crafting a message just to make sure it's perfectly in like in canon, which is really stupid and I should stop doing that. But like the Danganronpa is still in my blood and I have to be canon. But yeah, I guess we should end this now. So I appreciate you guys coming. It was really nice getting to yap and talk. If you have any other things that you want to ask about Danganronpa or talk about Kodaka games, or if you have any weird psychological horror games to recommend to us, I would highly, highly appreciate it. We're literally always open to talk and yap and hang out. Fare thee well, chat.